going to start with Kentucky State Senate District number 22. Let's welcome incumbent Republican Tom Buford. Tom, we want to ask you this. What is your position on taxation, and how can the state meet its financial obligations?
How will the state meet its financial obligations given the tax situation that we're currently in? I believe that is the question. Currently, under the budget that we proposed and passed, there was some tax increases put into there. I did not vote for that. That bill was picking winners and losers, services on your mechanic, services on your veterinarian, services here and services there. That's unfair to individuals. And also it did a 50-cent cigarette tax, which will do nothing to prevent youth from continuing to smoke. And that will be a diminishing amount of money over the period of times. How do you meet the obligations of the state of Kentucky? As we look at the economy as it is improving, and I have in my portfolio over here letters from about 17 or 18 bankers, financial institutions, right here in Kentucky, a lot in central Kentucky. They indicate that the Federal Reserve will probably start to creep up the interest rate. Why are they doing that? Because the economy is starting to soar, and they do need to slow it a little bit to stop inflation. Individuals are receiving pay raises and more money. That helps in the expenditures that they will make. They did the tax issue in Washington, which gives individuals on an average about $1,000 more into their pocket. Hopefully they will spend that money, which I'm sure that they will. But in the economic drive, what you want to do is be good stewards of taxation dollars. And what you want to see is the economy improve, jobs increase, companies come to Kentucky, and that in itself provides the income from taxations that will meet the obligations of Kentucky. We put $1.2 billion in the pension plans last session, $3 billion in the pension plans over the next 2 years. That is because we have a good economy, we have the resources to do so. Taxation, more taxes on the public is not necessary. Thank you.
Republican incumbent Tom Buford.
And now Democratic candidate Carolyn DuPont. Ms. DuPont, what services provided by state funds do you think are most and least important?
That's an easy question. Education, education, education. We have seen in the General Assembly an assault on public education in this last session. And this assault on education that was over the top in this last session comes after several years of cutting education. And education is the path to opportunity. It is the bridge out of poverty. It is the door to hope for Kentuckians. And my priority is to see us as a state begin to invest generously in public education. This would begin at the preschool level. We should have universal preschool. We particularly need preschool for the many Kentucky children who come from economically disadvantaged circumstances, because we know, research tells us, that these circumstances impact a person's ability to learn. We have something called Head Start, which is a federal program, but unfortunately it only serves 56% of the Kentucky students who qualify. And I would put a priority on expanding preschool, having universal preschool. And I'll mention on that note that the budget passed in the General Assembly this year cut funding to preschool. But we need to do more than just preschool. We need to invest generously in our kids in ways that are flexible and meet their needs all the way through their senior year of high school. And we need to make university available to more Kentucky students. This year's budget cut 6.25% from the university budgets, and this comes on the heels of several years of cuts. So I would say public education would be my priority and job number one. Thank you.
That is Senate District 22, Democratic candidate Carolyn DuPont.
And now Kentucky State House District number 55. Here is Democrat Kathy Carter. Kathy, what is your strategy for learning about the maze of bills, procedures, and regulations that will be a part of your job as a state representative?
I have already immersed myself in the procedures for drafting legislation by reviewing legislative research sources which focus solely on helping legislators to navigate those mazes. I know that I have to make my case to agree or not to agree after reading legislation in its entirety to the best of my ability, provide arguments to support my case, and this is very important, using valid, reliable, peer-reviewed research, which is extremely important now more than ever during this time of dark money and those who use bad science in an attempt to make false claims appear credible. I would also like to say, when my former husband and I, we couldn't have children, so and there were 5 teachers, we took in a child, and one of the first things he said was, oh my gosh, he's 8 years old. He will not be eligible to play football his senior year. So we worked on that and actually did, at that point, get legislation to change his situation. So we actually did pass that law.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kentucky State House District, number 55, Democrat candidate Kathy Carter.
And now for the Washington County Judge Executive candidates. Democratic candidate William Bud Blair. Bud, the County Judge Executive holds the purse strings of the county. What will you do to make the finances of the county transparent, fair, and honest?
I would like to see the finances posted on the website, the county judge's website, to keep it fair. The magistrates would help keep it fair, to keep everybody in their district even. They're going to make sure they get their fair share, so that shouldn't be that big a problem. Honest, that's up to us to make it honest and keep it honest. By making the public aware of everything that's going on is going to help keep everything honest. We shouldn't have to, as citizens, hear rumors as to what's going on and what decisions are made. We should be able to get on the internet or read the paper and know everything that's going on in the county. People want to know how their money is spent, how their tax dollars are spent. I'd be fair to say that I pay more property tax than most 90% of the people in Washington County because of my land I own. I don't have a problem paying taxes. I have a problem with how it's spent and not knowing where it's going. And it doesn't matter if you pay a little bit of taxes or a whole lot of taxes. It's still people's money, and they need to know how their dollars are spent. Thank you.
Democratic candidate for county judge, William Bud Blair.
And now Democratic candidate for county judge, here's Timothy E. Graves. Timothy, what county-specific knowledge do you have that will help you exercise the office of County Judge Executive?
Thank you, Hal. Well, first, I alluded to in my opening statement that I work for the Postal Service. And my job with the Postal Service is I'm a sub, so I travel all the county roads. So I see those county roads when they're at their best and when they're at their worst. A large portion of the county's budget is the maintaining of those county roads. And I think I can bring a fresh look to the court on that. You know, and as far as the qualities of the judge, the budget is a very big portion of the county. That's what it takes to run the county. And my job with the Beef Network, I mentor young farmers who are getting government loans. In order for those guys to get those government loans, I have to work with them and submit their budget to a board. And you want to talk about a tough budget. You think the county's tough? Submit a young farmer's budget and see how he's going to survive. It's really tough. We have to work hard with those guys, and I have to mentor those guys, act as a leader for those guys and women to be successful. That I can bring that experience with my budgets, working with those guys to the court, and my road experience. And another thing too, I have a conservative approach to things. I kind of look at things different than most people. You know, we've all heard the old saying that the optimist and the pessimist, if the glass is half full or if it's half empty, we're all going to answer that different. I look at the glass and say the glass is too big. If you've got 8 ounces of water, you don't need a 16-ounce glass. So we keep it simple, we keep it conservative. I'm going to bring good leadership skills. I've worked with youth throughout the county. The youth are our future of this county, and I want what's best for the future of this county. Thank you.
Democrat Timothy E. Graves.
And now Democrat Richie Hamilton. Richie, what experience do you have that prepares you for the financial management portion of the job of County Judge Executive?
My experience working with state government has allowed me to work with budgets, has allowed me to work with grants. Those allow me to know how to put a budget together and how to allow that money to be used in order to fund a program. So I have, in my past, I have worked with budgets throughout my career in state government. I've done that for so many years, you know, putting numbers together. You look at numbers, more numbers come, you look at more. Numbers, numbers, numbers. And you know, that's what I am good at. I'm good at budgets, putting budgets together. I'm good at grant writing and compiling all the information together in order enough to get the money that we need to fund the program. And that's my experience on that end.
Democratic candidate Richie Hamilton.
Now the Republican candidate for Washington County Judge, David L. Purdom. David, what do you see as the main issue you would like to address as county judge?
Okay, yeah, there's a couple, and obviously I know we have a drug issue in the county that's been brought up before. How we fix that, I'm not so sure. My main issue that I see is, as I said earlier, the economic diversification. We are solely reliant on several different industries in the same sector. And if there's a turn down in that automotive sector, we'll struggle. You can look up anything from 3D printing, if anybody's familiar with that. That, I think, is going to revolutionize manufacturing, and we need to be ready. Things like that will have an impact. We need to have a plan. We need to see what's going to come down the road and be prepared for that so that we can head that off at the pass. I'm willing to hear any other ideas because, truthfully, at the end of the day, politics is really a dialogue and it's not a monologue. As such, I think elected officials need to have solid ideas, but more importantly, we need to listen. At that point, we can come together, determine the best use of available resources. It doesn't matter if we're Democrat or Republican. At the end of the day, we're all just trying to make Washington County better. Thank you.
Republican candidate David L. Purdom.
Democrat Billy Riney. Billy, do you have any thoughts about this position and how you would approach it if elected?
Yes, I do have some possibilities that there could be 6 new magistrates on the court. There could be there will be a new county judge, there'll be a new county clerk, there'll be a new jailer, and possibly a new sheriff. We need someone with experience to lead this court, and I have that experience. Thank you.
Democratic candidate for Washington County Judge Executive Billy Riney.
And now Washington County Sheriff. Here is incumbent Democrat Jerry Pinkston. Jerry, how will you promote the cooperation of the public in retaining law and order?
Well, I think there's 3 most important things: being fair, firm, dealing with the issues that involve laws that need to be enforced, holding lawbreakers accountable for consequences of their actions under law, establishing peaceful neighborhoods by providing proactive law enforcement, and building virtual, trust-based relationships.
Incumbent Democrat for Washington County Sheriff Jerry Pinkston.
And now Democratic candidate for Sheriff Chris Smith. Chris, what do you think are the main challenges you will face as the Washington County Sheriff, and how do you plan to address these?
Like I said before, drugs has been and always will be the challenge for a sheriff department. Plan on making one deputy a full-time investigator, to be able to handle the drug complaints and follow up on crimes that are happening in the county. Most of our crimes, as he said, is coming from drug abuse. And if we can slow down the drug abuse, hopefully we can slow down the other crimes that are happening. Like I said, we was also looking at grants maybe we can get to help save money, to get more help in investigating skills, more training for deputies to help investigate. I know there's not a lot of deputies, but if we can have them all trained, more proactive, we can maybe fight this battle. I would like to work with the court system to help anyone that needs help. Like I said, I know the jails are full, and by putting them in jail, we're really helping them. We need to get a rehab. We can put them in, they get right back out, they're going to keep doing what they're doing. We're not fixing nothing. We have to get help for them. That way they can help themselves and then hopefully help their friends who are on that. And if you keep putting them back out with their friends who are still hooked on heroin or other drugs, they get right back into it. Programs like we have in Nelson County Drug Court. These people don't go to jail. What they do is they report to the courthouse, they do the random drug testing. As long as they stay and do what they need to do and follow all major guidelines, they stay out. Now, if you fail your drug test, you don't do the guidelines, you go back to jail. It's pretty simple. And that's what I would like to see here. Thank you.
Democratic candidate for Washington County Sheriff, Chris Smith.
And now for the office of Washington County Clerk. Let's welcome back to the podium Democrat William B., better known as Billy Abel. Billy, how do you intend to ensure that the services of the county clerk's office are available to all residents, disabled, LGBT, minorities, and immigrants?
As far as the disabled people, I believe that the building is handicapped accessible. The building, as you all know, is the old courthouse, where the county clerk's office is, and the responsibility for the building falls with physical court. So the LGBT, to me, that's not an issue. You know, we're all the same. I have no tolerance for discrimination of any type, so there's no issue whatsoever. I just don't even believe that is an issue. The same thing with transgender, disabled, handicapped. So anyway, that's my opinion. So
very good. William B., better known as Billy Abel, Democratic candidate for clerk.
Democratic candidate Jonathan Jones. Jonathan, if additional funding is needed to realize the improvements made in your office, how would you suggest those funds be attained?
Thanks, Jeff. Obviously, earlier I talked about extending the office hours, and to do that, you would think that you would need more staff. I think that we could accomplish this by spreading the staff out and also getting the documents online. And what I mean by that is offering comp time to the employees that work on Saturdays. And if we get our documents online as such, there will be less foot traffic during the office during the work week. So we, in theory, should be able to work with the same staff just by spreading them out. For the documents that are online, obviously there's going to be a fee associated with that, as well as probably a monthly service fee. The important thing is that we get the documents there so that they are available and accessible and protected for the history of the county. We could charge fees for browsing or downloading or viewing the documents, but like I said, it's very important that we simply get them there as a service to the community. As far as the office renovations, obviously that would be probably a multi-year investment that I would have to work out with the new fiscal court. And we would also look at the feasibility of having grant money. Obviously it's the oldest courthouse in the state, and as well as the annex building, so there might also be historical funds that would be available to that. So thank you.
Democratic candidate Jonathan Jones.
And now here's Democratic candidate Tony Mann. Tony, with the discussion of improvements, do you have a sense of how much those improvements will cost the county and if they can be made within the current budget constraints.
And like I said before, I'm not for sure, don't know the budget, but I'm sure that it probably could be made with the budget that is now. I've always been good at improving. You can always improve on what's being done. You just have to know where to cut from and have the people to work with you. I'm sure that the office staff in there does the best ability, and we can make it work and probably work it out where we can get a Saturday or overtime, more hours or something like that. Just work with what we have on it. Like I said, I'm at a disadvantage because I don't know the budget, but when I get in there, I was pretty good at office management when I did it in Lexington and Louisville, Montgomery, and I'm sure that I can improve on it when you get into the office.
Democratic candidate for County Clerk, Tony Mann.
Democratic candidate, Teresa Marinan. Teresa, what are the opportunities for improving the services of the county clerk's office?
I believe the opportunities, we can build upon the systems that we currently have. One big key is being informative to the public. There's constantly changes. When laws change, our policies change, what is required of the customer changes. I think we need to stress letting the customer know what they're going to need. Make available the links and the websites that are already there. The state is trying to accommodate everyone's different schedules with all the different work schedules. There are availability to renew your tags online. A lot of people don't know that. We do push that. People call and they say, oh, we can't get in. What can we do? We tell them the options. We give them the links. Also, we need more space so that we can run more efficiently. And I know that we would have to work with the fiscal court and the county judge for that. But there is funding there in the budget. We do turn over a lot of money each year, or have currently excess fees. And a part of those excess fees, a lot of people may not know, years ago there was an earmarked fee added to the registration of vehicles, people's vehicle fees. And in March, usually around March, we get a big check from the state for those fees that are generated by county based on your county's intake. And a lot of that's turned over to the county, and I would like to use more of those funds to implement a lot of these things that will help the community as well as help us wait on the community so that they can, they come into our office to fulfill their obligations. They're not wanting to come in there, most cases, to just come in and see us, or, they come in there because they're following the law. So basically using the funds that are there and just being more informative so that they know what they need. Thank you.
That's Democratic candidate Teresa Marinan.
And now Democratic candidate for clerk, Sherry A. Osborne. Sherry, how do you intend to ensure that the services of the county clerk's office are available to all residents, disabled, LGBT, minorities, immigrants?
Well, personally, right now, I think everything needs to be online and transparent. As I've looked at the county clerk's website, well, the county website, period, there's not enough information on there to help anyone, really. I don't look at it being disabled, LGBT, minority. Everybody's a person. And I plan on serving everyone. And in order to do that, you need to be more visible, more transparent, have everything to where everybody can access anything that they want to access. And basically, I think that would cover most people.
Thank you. Democratic candidate for Washington County Clerk, Sherry A. Osborne.
And now to the candidates for Washington County Jailer, Republican incumbent Joe T. Mudd. Joe, what challenges do you think might arise for the county jailer, and how do you plan to address those?
Well, we already have several challenges for the jailer, and it's the drug problem. And nobody seems to have an answer for it. And I'm up on the GPS home incarceration thing, and I'm up on other avenues of help to where we can lower this budget. And as far as what we can do about it, I don't know. And your guess is as good as mine. But as we proceed in dealing with these inmates, we just got to go with the flow, I guess, and just do what we can and get them out as soon as we can to minimize the cost of keeping them in there. And the GPS thing will work really good, but nobody right now in jail for Washington County qualifies for the GPS home incarceration as we speak right now. Nobody qualifies for it. So, and when someone comes available to qualify for it, I will be more than happy to put that person on the GPS home incarceration bracelet and save the taxpayer money, save you money. And that's what I would do.
That's Republican incumbent Joe T. Mudd.
And now candidate for jailer, Democrat Michael Smith. Michael, what unique qualifications do you have for this position?
Okay, like I said earlier, I've been with the Department of Corrections for over 27 years, and I've worked the past 15 as a probation officer in Washington County. I've got a great relationship with the courts. That's the key, is working with the judges, the prosecutor's office, the public defenders, and the substance abuse program. So I'm going to, and also of course, probation and parole where I came from. I'm going to lean on probation and parole just as the past jailer leaned on me. I understand they have all the resources. So we need to use those resources to reduce this jail budget and hopefully save the county some money. No, we're not going to save the county over the $500,000, over $400,000, what it is. But hopefully we can get it down to where it needs to be. And I just think that I'm going to continue to watch over this jail budget and the jail inmate list. That's another key thing. Myself and the retired jailer, we used to review it weekly. We did find mistakes on that bill. And he always said, we just got to keep reviewing this to make sure that these are our inmates on that bill, because they are $41 a day for everyone we miss. Thank you all.
Democratic challenger for jailer Michael Smith.
And now, candidate for Washington County Attorney, Democratic incumbent Bill Robinson. Bill, what do you think will be the chief challenges that you will face in the role of county attorney, and how do you plan to address these challenges?
I think there's several different challenges. Obviously, many of the candidates have talked about the drug issue. That's obviously a much more complex issue than to discuss in 2 minutes, but generally, try to balance the need to hold people accountable, the need obviously to protect the public, and also the need for treatment. I was at a jail meeting a couple of weeks ago with Judge Executive John Settles, and there was a lot of discussion about some medication therapy, a type of treatment called Vivitrol, and that was sort of interesting, and I can talk to folks more about that afterward. I think the second thing is protecting children and older folks, no matter where they are. We partner with a lot of different agencies almost daily: the school system, law enforcement, social services, Department for Juvenile Justice, Adult Protective Services. We want to partner with anybody out there that shares that same goal of protecting children and older folks. Also, just, we have a very small office in many ways, continuing to provide accessible service to people. Lots of folks think all we do is sort of district court on Mondays, but we do adult guardianships. We help families whose family members are struggling with issues that need help. We do mental inquest warrants. We do Casey's Law petitions or involuntary addiction treatment petitions, help folks. We do cold check collections, child support collections. I have one child support worker, Patricia Sims. She does an excellent job. Washington County is 29th out of 120 counties in child support collection. And I would love to be 28th. I would love to be first. And we want to keep improving that, but I think that's real important. Juvenile court proceedings, drafting and enforcement of county ordinances, and also giving physical court guidance and attending meetings. So all of those things are challenges every day. Thank you all.
That is Democratic incumbent Washington County Attorney Bill Robinson.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, let's give a big round of applause to all of our participants that are vying for public office this evening. As we welcome back to the stage the podium, Diane Sims, President of the Democratic Women's Club of Washington County. We do want to thank our sponsors, Springfield Washington County Chamber of Commerce, Rose Bookkeeping, the Democratic Women's Club of Washington County, the Washington County Democratic Committee, and the Dominican Sisters of Peace, who are providing the venue. We'd like to thank WLSK, Channel 6, and the Springfield Sun. Now, to finish us up, here's Diane Sims, President of the Democratic Women's Club of Washington County.
Thank you, Al. I appreciate all of you being here. I hope as an audience you were educated and we've helped you as candidates. I think this concludes our night, and so good night.